Good afternoon, good evening, and good night, whatever it happens to be. This is Michael Frank speaking to you about the 4th of July project that's coming up on, guess what, July 4th in 2014. This is an amazing time of year, and if it isn't too hot, which it usually is, we're going to have some great fun. There's going to be some great projects going on, and races and bake-offs and softball games on 4th of July, as there usually is. But one thing that we wanted to come to you with a kind of an explanation and also ask for your help with is this project, which I don't know if it has a name, but it's called the 4th of July Community Art Project. And it's spearheaded by artist John Kaufman, who's a very old and good friend of mine. I mean, not old age, but longtime friend. And sponsored by, along with the VFW and 1978 Art Center, and of course the 4th of July Committee. This project is something that I've worked on for years with John, and really it's fulfilling, it's exciting, and it's wonderful to see the community be involved in this. And so we're going to talk about the project a little bit. Let me just give you an introduction here. Well, I'll let John get into the details of it, but basically it's to help duplicate a picture of the American flag, and we're going to blow it up 100 times and put it on the backstop down at Memorial Field. And it's going to be made up of these, what John likes to call pixels, which are, just pegboard basically. And on the back, you see a picture of the segment that you have to create with this board. So I'm going to send it over to John Kaufman here to explain a little bit better what's going on. John, can you just give everybody an idea?
I want to thank you, Michael, for preparing me as well as you did for this little segment.
You're welcome.
You've done a really marvelous job. Since you were talking about the pixel and you're showing it, I guess that's a way to start. Pixel is a great thing. A lot of people know that pixels are what make up the computer screen.
Right.
Right. I used to think most of the people in the world knew that. But when I started with this project and I used the word pixel, I discovered that a whole lot of people didn't know what I was talking about. So we had to get away from the pixel. I still try to refer to as a pixel box or a pixel square or something.
Right. But when you have a grid, like we're gonna show a graphic of the grid. But when you have a grid of how many rectangles?
In the case of this project, we have 96.
So you have 96 rectangles.
Right.
I think you told me 40. How many?
There's 96 of them, and 50 as of now, May 27th. 50 of the pixels have been, so to speak, adopted.
Okay.
By individuals. Actually, one entire row 5. The rows are the thing is lettered from A to L across the top, and from 1 to 8.
So kind of like a map of directions.
So yeah, that's how you can identify which pixel or box you're going to adopt.
Right.
But the YMCA here in Maplewood, South Orange, has adopted the entire row 5.
So they're making their own project out of it.
Well, that's true, and we still have row K, which except for the 5, is still hasn't been chosen. So conceivably, some other organization who wanted to somehow or other get some identification out of this could choose the column K.
Right.
They would have to deal with the YMCA as to the 5, but that could still do K.
So basically, the flag photograph, it's one photograph that you found, and the flag photograph is made into a grid.
Yes.
Okay, and the grid is broken up into pieces like this, and you're asking folks to take the piece, which is abstract because it's taken out of this larger photograph, and do something on the piece of pegboard, like you've done here,
Right.
and make it exactly the same way as the grid is in the photograph, in the segment of the photograph that you have.
Exactly. The phraseology that we came up with was pick a pixel, which of course nobody understood that initially.
Right.
Pick a pixel, do what you want, but stick to the color. The concept being that from a distance, if everybody sticks to the color and sticks to the configuration of the colors of red, white, and in the case of blue, where they exist in the star field or in sky, from a distance, you'll see the image of this particular flag, which of course is very appropriate for the 4th of July.
Right.
But up close, you will see the diversity of materials that people will use. I know that people are going to use metal. Somebody asked me today if he could use metal and not use the pegboard. And my answer was yes, as long as you keep it to 18 inches by 24 inches and provide for a way to hang it, so that the person would have to provide some holes in the appropriate corners, let's say.
To attach it to the
Yeah,
backstop.
you skipped over it a little quickly, but there are a number of baseball fields down in Memorial Park. There's big fields and there's little fields. I think they're referred to as the big field and the little field.
Right.
The big field has a nice infield diamond. However, that field is not the best because once the fireworks get to be important, a certain safety area is set off in the field, and the fire department would prefer that people not be drawn into the field, into that portion of the field to see that on that particular backstop. So instead, we're using a different backstop, the one that's closest to Valley Street and Oakland Avenue. So we are able to we will make a flag that will be 12 feet in vertical height by 24 feet wide.
Okay, so 12 feet high by 24 feet wide.
Right.
So
The
you'll be able to
backstop
see
is
it.
15 feet high, but we're going to take it up a couple of feet off the ground.
Right.
From say 15 down to whatever. Actually, it's 15 minus 12 would be so it's 3 feet above the ground.
Right.
Like that, and then it'll be somewhat bent, as
It's
suits
gonna curve
the backstop. But having the backstop makes it a lot easier to display these things. Mind you, I don't know if we're going to get into this. As you know, last year we did this community art project, and we gave people squares, and we asked people to decorate the square any way they chose.
Right, and they were on the front lawns
People-
in some areas.
and
They
put
were
them on their
people's
front lawns.
all over town. People were driving by, what is this, what is this? And it was a great way to generate excitement about the project.
It started, as you know, again, the year before was really the one that really people were kind of thrilled and excited by the fact that we were doing this with a certain very PVC kind of PVC that could easily bend. And so we made what people refer to as hoops.
Right.
Now the hoops were the ones that really, I think, took the town by storm to a certain extent, because they started popping up on the lawns of the members of the VFW, because the local VFW is a primary sponsor, along with Gallery 1978, and of course the 4th of July Committee is like the parent sponsor.
Right.
I happen to be a member of all of those three organizations, and of course talk up the art project. As you know, 1978 used to be the sole sponsor of the 4th of July art project. I shouldn't say the sole. July 4th sponsored the July 4th art contest for children. What do you call it? Art project.
Project, yeah.
We did one of those things every year. Then we got 1978 came on board, and 1978 one contributed money. So they began to share the cost with the 4th of July Committee. And then the members of the board of 1978 embraced the project by contributing manpower.
Right.
Not only on the day of the event, because all these kids come to do an art project, there have to be people there to do it. And the members of the board of 1978, plus a scattering of people from around town, did that.
We had the Boy Scouts help out one year, I remember. Or a couple of years.
The Boy Scouts. I
volunteered.
remember that was the year that we got to making cubes.
The cubes that rolled down the hill.
That was a great year. That year was the year I had the town to help us transport some of the materials down to the field, and on the way down, one of the cubes rolled off the truck. Nobody told me about it,
Right.
And so we got to the field on July 4th, and we were trying to roll a cube with only one wheel as opposed to two.
And this year, the town is helping out by supplying a cherry picker, is that right?
Well, yeah, we asked them, and they're going to let us use a cherry picker to help
To help hang it, to install the
hang
piece.
them, right.
Right. So how do people get in touch with you in order to get one of these rectangles?
Well, you're holding a flyer that we've been distributing. We were distributing them the other day at Mayfest. They're electronically available on the website, the July 4th website. The township, I believe the township has made them available either on their Twitter accounts or
Right.
their Facebook account.
And also on
it's
the
on the
1978
website, whatever.
1978 Art Center.
Oh, yes,
.org.
1978 Art Center.
.org.
Right, .org. And of course, well, my email, I have an email address there.
Right. Your email is bjohnk1 That's bjohnk1 And so you can send John an email, and he will arrange with you how to pick up the rectangle or the pixel or whatever you want to call it.
Well, people will call in and say they want such and such a pixel or such and such a box. Now, as I think I mentioned earlier, there are 96, the flag is divided into 96 boxes. 50 have been adopted, so we have 46 available now to use there. Now, if we don't get all 46 adopted, on the day of the event, one of the things that people coming to participate in this children's art project would be to complete the flag. I suspect, given we haven't just starting into the end of May, that the balance of these boxes will be adopted, so to speak.
Yeah.
In which case, we'll have additional
Of these,
things
yeah.
for kids to paint, and then we'll display them. Here, help me do that.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean,
Okay.
so that.
We've only got 1 minute left, so let's do this quickly.
Okay. Well, I mean, the idea is we have stakes, and so even if you don't get to make a square,
You can come down and
For
we'll give you paint.
we'll give you paint,
And
and
you can paint your
we'll do
own.
whatever we do,
Right.
and they'll still get painted, and we'll display them
display them.
around.
Okay.
Figure out a good way to do that.
Great.
Okay.
And so we have to take a little break here, and we'll be back and talk more with B. John Kaufman about the 4th of July project and how you can participate, and your kids can participate, and it's going to be a wonderful thing. So we'll be right back.
Once you're hit by a train, this is the size of bag that we'll use to collect what's left of you on the tracks.
It was a horrible tragedy that could have been averted if we had just stayed off the tracks.
I don't want to have to be the one that has to go tell your parents that you're dead.
Make the right choice. Stay off the tracks.
Okay, hi, we're back, and I'm Michael Frank, and this is Meet the Artist, and John Kaufman is the artist, and we are talking about the 4th of July project that is coming up on July 4th, of course, and John has been working on it for a while. We've been talking about it now for a few months, and it's in the works. John has gotten people to, take the responsibility of making a rectangular work of art and putting it in as part of this project. So on the 4th of July at 10 o'clock in the morning, we'll start. It's amazing what happens. The kids just come out of nowhere with their parents and their families, and hundreds of kids show up and start to and bring their projects, their segments of the project, and also work on things live. And we supply 1978 Art Center supplies the paint and the volunteer corps to help put this thing together. So, John, talk about what exactly is going to happen on that morning.
Well, that like much of this project is a to be determined evolutionary kind of thing. So hopefully, I mean, at this point in time, I envision that I would ask people to bring their completed units, the square.
Let's call them a
pixel-
box.
Let's call
for
them a
lack of
box.
better-
Okay, they'll bring their box. Probably, I'd like to bring them down on July 2nd. We would probably store them in the skate house.
So you'll be there, you'll be at the field on July 2nd, is that?
Well, of course.
Okay.
I mean, the people are going. Some people will be making these things, dropping them off because they're going away.
Right.
One way or another, they're going to people have to get these boxes back to us, and we would like to accumulate them down at the field, which would be in the skate house. So you ask what happens on July 4th? Well, we get all these boxes over to the baseball diamond that we're using. We'll probably lay them out on the ground. That's why they have, as you showed you.
Letters and
Actually,
numbers.
this is the one that you've chosen.
Right.
Before. And each by the way, each box that is chosen has a blow up of what their particular box looks like. Okay, so
Little detail.
the detail and the before. So we'll lay out all the B's, and this is how we'll know where things going without having to do it visually.
Right. And then they can use whatever material they want, collage, paper, colors, whatever. If they want to do it just a
People
painting.
might do beads, might do fabric, might do yarn. That was a big thing that people did.
Oh, yeah, yarn, yeah.
As you were pointing out, I generally make little sculptures and attach the sculpture to the board. But then you can see I've painted on the thing.
Right, so
in
this,
the colors
so
of
this
my particular
corresponds
box.
to your picture.
Yeah, this is
Your
box
pixel.
H7.
Right. Okay.
So that we're talking before, and the whole concept of this thing 2 years ago, whatever, we did the hoops, and then we brought those hoops down, and they were all demonstrated there. We tried to make something called an infinity loop, which really wasn't noticeable unless you were looking at it from a distance. Then last year we did the squares, and we hung them on the backstop, and we made it kind of like a gallery.
Right.
But this year,
Those are all individual artworks that people put together as a way of just making something to contribute to the gallery that we ended up making.
Exactly, right. Well, because we had the advantage last year because of the fireworks moving from let's call it the south field to north field. All of a sudden, we had a big baseball backstop that we could use to hang those pictures. You were down there doing all of that. But the over the course of many years, in these community art projects that I've been involved in, it's been a matter for me to try to organize the energy of kids. Because we'd always do these art projects, whether it was up at what's the name of that place that we had?
Up at
D Hart Center. We used to do these things
at
D Hart
it started
Center.
at D Hart.
And we had boxes, and kids be painting boxes.
Right.
And we made them into triangles, and we made large constructions. But over the course of years, I was trying to channel that energy into something more coherent. And so this year, we got to the point where we give people the freedom to do anything they want with that square, with that box.
Well, you develop a parameter, and it's usually based on some kind of a theory like Fibonacci triangle or the golden section. But this time it's based on a patriotic image.
Well,
of a flag, which
and
is
the
pretty
patriotic
cool.
image, we didn't actually start out to make a patriotic image. It sort of fell into place because it's 4th of July.
Yeah. Well,
because
makes sense.
because the VFW is the VFW.
Right.
And so it became a very good, a kind of a good image to use. I was mentioning my first thought was to reproduce an image of Washington crossing the Delaware. But
Which would have been like a really crazy puzzle to try to put together.
Well, it
But
would have been a crazy
been
puzzle to
interesting.
put together, but the notion would be that still people would be following whatever they had, whatever their box had, whatever portion of the picture was
Right.
there. But I think it's an interesting thing that it's a kind of a lesson in life in a way, to have the freedom to do what you want and yet be willing to take the constraints of how the flag it displays in your particular box. And make whatever you're doing be a part of a whole.
Right, and then you can see, and it comes together, and it's really
And it
a
comes
wonderful
together
thing.
as something. And I'm
part of.
sure there's a metaphor for life there.
Well, I'm sure there's a metaphor for life there, but in terms of art, I was saying before, and I've said it many times, that I consider John Kaufman the Christo of Maplewood. And for those of you who know who Christo is, he's the one who did the the Central Park piece and wrap the buildings, and he does these huge projects where it takes an army to put it together. But the thing about it is that it does take a lot of people, a lot of different creative, time and avenues to make these things, and it really comes out well and becomes a really beautiful thing. Talk a little bit about the writing contest.
Oh, well, it's an interesting thing. Part of the evolution of this thing, and the tie-in to the veterans of foreign wars is the VFW sponsors every year sponsors a writing contest. It usually takes place in the fall. It's called Voice of Democracy and Patriot's Pen. It's a different age group. The younger group is Patriot's Pen. The older one is Voice of Democracy. And we have not really had as large and greater participation in that contest, which is...
You mean up till now?
Up until recently.
That
thing takes place at the local level. If somebody submits something that's good, it goes up to a slightly higher level. As it goes up in level, the prize increases. So that somebody who wins a national contest can win a $20,000 scholarship.
Wow.
And I was at a VFW meeting earlier tonight. I forget which post it was that won, but whoever it was who won a $2,000 stipend as the winner at the state level. I had suggested to the guys in the VFW that perhaps we could combine a writing contest with this visual art project. And so that's how that thing got tied into it. The writing contest is to write in 100 words or less what the flag means to you,
right,
or what you think the flag is all about. And we are offering a $250 prize in 3 age groups. I think it's K to 5, then the grade schools,
right,
and then the high school level. That's mentioned on the flyer as well.
We'll put this address where you send the writing to. We'll put the address on the screen.
But by the way, this was kind of to try to make people aware of the fact that we have this contest, another contest which will be running in the fall.
Okay.
People might begin to develop an idea now, submit it in this contest, and then do it again in the fall.
Great. So they'll know about it.
Hopefully, that's one of the ties.
One of the ways that you can get that consciousness raised about this particular contest.
Right. I mean, the
VFW
VFW makes a nice contribution, and 1970 Art Gallery makes a contribution to the cost associated with this thing. The VFW is kicking in another $750 to sponsor these writing contests.
Great. That's great. Okay, so let me give your email again.
Okay.
Which is bjohnk1 and you can contact him through sending him an email. We don't want to give out a phone number because who knows how many people will call, and he's a busy man. So contact him through email. He will get you the rectangle for the flag for the art project. He'll give you the address for the writing contest if you're interested, and we'll take it from there. But this is going to be a really wonderful event. It is every year, and I put a lot of sweat into it, and a lot of other people do too, and it's totally worth it. And John, thank you very much for doing this. It's just fantastic. You want to talk a little bit about some ideas that you have in terms of making art, in terms of putting these things together, and what your art process is, as an artist, because this is a Meet the Artist thing. I want you to just use the rest of the time to talk about yourself.
You gave me a lot of preparation for this. That I should do that. I think that a lot part of what I do when I'm making art is look for mathematical kinds of relationships between the parts of whatever I'm doing. I think of myself as painting with the color and texture of materials. So whereas a painter might look at a canvas and know that at this place on the canvas, he or the artist is going to do something, I would try to use some found object or something that somewhere I have in my studio that has the color that I'm looking for. And then I will try to use that piece of material.
Kind of
But
in a tradition of an artist like Robert Rauschenberg, where he would use found objects to make what he called combines.
Well, Michael, you're the guy who is the that kind of guy. You can make all those comparisons. You once compared me to I don't know. I once had a thing and I put a dot someplace and you got all bent out of shape on I can't think who it was. Was it Cezanne or someone? I don't know what it was. I was very flattered,
Well, accidents happen.
Right.
But that's part of. I just want to get a plug in for the Contemporary Artists Forum, which you're part of also.
Oh yeah, Contemporary Artists Forum.
And it's a critique group that we run, and we have a great time critiquing each other's work, and a lot of the work is really phenomenal. In fact, all of the work is phenomenal. We have a show coming up in September, which will display at 1978 Arts Center the work that's done by these artists for the past year that we've talked about.
Right.
And so we've got 1 minute left. So is there anything else that you want to talk about in terms of the project or yourself or anything in the next 45 seconds?
How about a moment of silence?
Silence doesn't work on TV.
A moment of silence.
It really doesn't. But we really want to get things going with this, and we're bringing it out to the people of Maplewood and want you guys to get involved. And
I'll say I got something.
Oh, he's got something.
Just real quickly, I'll say to people, if somebody out there can write something and equate it with whatever they're doing on their box, that person is going to win the contest.
So a real
somehow or
tangible
other. There
thing.
might so to try to that would really be cool. Somebody could somehow or other bring together verbal communication with the visual communication.
That'd be great.
And submit to both parts of that contest. That person is a likely winner.
Okay. Well, we are out of time, and so thank you for being with us, and we'll see you next time on Meet the Artist. Thanks a lot.